For a whole year, James and his friends had been planning a grand hiking trip. The anticipation was palpable as they were excited about snowboarding and spending nights in the mountains. On March 14, 2014, the day finally arrived. Just before they set off, James sent a photo to his wife and two small children with the caption, "The adventure begins." He had no idea that only a few hours later, this adventure would turn into a deadly nightmare. James McGrogan, affectionately known as Jay by most, lived in Chesterton, a town in northwest Indiana. After graduating from Chesterton High School in 1993, he applied 3 times for medical school, finally gaining admission on his 3rd attempt. Years later, he graduated successfully and started working as a physician at a local hospital. James was well-loved, known for his warm, humorous personality. He had a close relationship with his family, a large circle of friends, and patients who valued his approachable demeanor. His friends often described him as the kindest person they knew. His father shared that James had always been adventurous, even as a child. He loved the outdoors, engaging in activities like snowboarding, cycling, hiking, and marathon running. James was married to Sharon Welch, and together they had 2 young children. The family had recently moved back to Indiana from Wisconsin so James could live and work in his hometown. In February 2014, he began working in the emergency department in Mishawaka. About a year before the trip, James and 3 friends planned an excursion to Vail, Colorado, a popular destination for winter sports enthusiasts. Among his friends was Andrew, while the identities of the other 2 companions remain unknown. It was to be a guys-only trip centered on hiking, skiing, and snowboarding. In March 2014, the long-awaited day arrived. James was 39 years old at the time. His wife learned about the trip only a week prior to their departure and expressed concern about the challenging route they had chosen. She repeatedly urged him not to separate from his group. Rather than driving the 16-hour journey to Vail, James opted to fly. However, the flight meant he couldn't bring his snowboard, so upon arrival the group rented equipment from a specialty shop. James rented a splitboard, an adaptable snowboard that doubles as skis, along with skins for ascending snowy slopes. He also rented avalanche gear, including a probe, beacon, helmet, and shovel. He brought his own boots. On the morning of March 14th, the 4 friends began their hike to the Eiseman Hut, a shelter nearly 3,500 meters above sea level, equipped with beds and a stove. The hike was approximately 14 kilometers long, mostly uphill. James carried a large backpack containing food, water, a first aid kit, a GPS tracker, and warm clothing. At 8 a.m., the group set off in clear, sunny weather, with temperatures at -8 degrees Celsius. Before starting, James sent his wife a photo from the trailhead, with the caption, "The adventure begins." By mid-morning, the group decided to take a break. However, James, being more fit and experienced, wanted to keep going. He told his friends he would meet them at another rest point or at the hut itself. Reluctantly, his friends let him go, though they were annoyed. The trip had been a year in the making, and it wasn't meant for anyone to hike alone. When the rest of the group reached the hut between 5 and 5:30 p.m., James was not there. Attempts to contact him failed. His phone appeared to be off or out of range. However, the group noticed a missed call from James about an hour after their separation, lasting 17 seconds. They weren't sure if the call had been answered, or if it merely rang for that duration, but they confirmed they hadn't spoken to him since he went ahead. Realizing something was wrong, they alerted the authorities. Search operations began that same evening. James's family noted he was an experienced snowboarder but not skilled in skiing. His wife speculated that he might have had an accident while skiing, as his rented equipment allowed for both activities. The area was a popular tourist region, and search efforts were robust. Search teams from the Eagle County Sheriff's Office, Rocky Mountain Rescue, and other volunteer organizations scoured a 46-square-kilometer area. Hundreds of volunteers and 2 helicopters participated in the search. Despite favorable weather during the initial days, no trace of James was found. He seemed to have vanished without leaving tracks. By March 18th, worsening conditions, including a snowstorm, hampered the search. On March 21st, operations were called off, as the area had become too dangerous to continue, and there were no leads. 2 weeks later, on April 3rd, 3 local skiers ventured off-trail in the Booth Falls area, approximately 7 kilometers east of the trail James had taken. At the base of a steep cliff, near a glacial ice fall, they discovered a body. It was later identified as James McGrogan. The autopsy revealed that he had died from a severe fall. Blunt trauma caused significant injuries, including a skull fracture, chest trauma, and a broken thigh bone. Mysteries surrounded the discovery. James's body was found far from his intended route, in an area difficult to access even for experienced climbers. Additionally, his GPS device and avalanche beacon were functional but unused. The location of his splitboard remains undisclosed, though it was returned to the rental shop in good condition. Strangely, James was found wearing minimal clothing, a helmet, leggings, a shirt and socks. His boots, gloves and jacket were missing, although his backpack contained his phone, GPS and jacket. His phone showed no signs of damage, despite the severity of the fall. One theory suggests hypothermia-induced disorientation, where victims paradoxically feel hot and remove clothing. However, it remains unclear why James, an experienced outdoorsman with proper equipment, would venture so far off course or fail to use his GPS. Speculation persists. Some believe James became lost and disoriented, while others question whether there is more to the story than has been disclosed. The police have not released all details of their investigation, fueling theories about what might have happened during James's final hours. What truly led to James McGrogan's tragic death remains a mystery. What do you think happened to James?